Before you rush to be a good person again, pause. Because some help doesn't heal, some help quietly destroys. It drains your peace, rewards bad habits, and teaches people they can stay the same while you pay the price. And here's the hard truth. Love without wisdom becomes a leash. In Scripture, even Jesus didn't say yes to everyone. He helped with purpose, not pressure. So if you feel guilty every time you set a boundary, this message is for you. In the next minutes, you'll learn the 7 types of people you must not keep rescuing, and the exact words to protect your heart while still staying godly. Stay with me, because your no might be the most loving thing you've ever said. You were never called to be a doormat. You were called to be a vessel, and there's a difference. A doormat gets stepped on and stays silent. A vessel carries something sacred: wisdom, peace, and purpose, and protects it with reverence. That's why the Bible doesn't just teach kindness. It teaches discernment. Because without discernment, your generosity becomes a loophole for people who refuse to grow. Helping the wrong way can keep someone stuck, and it can slowly turn your heart bitter. So before we talk about the 7 types of people you must not help, let's make one thing clear. This is not about becoming cold. This is about becoming clear. You can love someone deeply and still refuse to fund their dysfunction. You can pray for them and still close your door. You can care and still say, "Not like this." Here's the rule that will save you. Love serves growth, not comfort. Some people don't want a hand up. They want a permanent rescue. They don't want transformation, they want relief. And relief without responsibility is a drug. It feels kind in the moment, but it poisons the future. Now, let's walk through the 7 types slowly, honestly, and with the kind of clarity that feels like clean air after a long storm. The entitled demander. This person doesn't ask, they expect. They treat your yes like it's owed to them. They don't come with humility. They come with pressure. If you hesitate, they punish you with attitude, silence, guilt, or sudden anger. The sign is simple. After you help them, you don't feel joy, you feel used. And the more you give, the more they move the goalposts. Helping them non-stop doesn't make them grateful, it makes them bolder. The boundary you need is gentle but firm. I care about you, but I can't keep doing this the way you want. I'm not available for demands, only respectful requests. Love doesn't negotiate with entitlement. It corrects it. The crisis addict. Some people live in emergency mode. Every week there's a new disaster. Every month there's a new fire. And somehow, they always need you as the extinguisher. They don't build stability, they build dependency. They may even sound sincere, but their life never changes because chaos has become their identity. The reason you must not keep helping them the same way is because your rescue becomes their lifestyle. Your support becomes their plan. The boundary phrase sounds like wisdom. I can't keep responding to emergencies. If you want change, let's talk about a long-term plan and what steps you'll take. If they refuse steps but still demand saving, you have your answer. The ungrateful receiver. This person receives like it's normal and thanks you like it's optional. They don't honor sacrifice. They don't acknowledge effort. And when you stop, they suddenly remember your name only to complain. The sign is subtle. Your help disappears into a black hole. No growth, no gratitude, no reflection. Helping them repeatedly trains their heart to ignore the cost of love. It's not kindness anymore. It's a silent agreement that you don't deserve appreciation. A strong boundary can still sound loving. I'm willing to help people who value what I give. I don't need praise, but I do need respect. Respect is the minimum currency in healthy relationships. The permanent victim. This one is the most dangerous because they can look humble. But listen closely. Everything is always happening to them. Everyone is always wrong. Nothing is ever their responsibility. They don't want solutions, they want sympathy. If you offer a path forward, they reject it. If you offer accountability, they call you insensitive. Their pain may be real, but their refusal to grow is also real. Helping them too much becomes a spiritual trap because you begin to carry a cross God never assigned you. Your boundary must invite ownership. I'm sorry you're hurting. I'll support you, but I can't do the work for you. What choice are you willing to make this week? If they have no choice, no step, no responsibility, then you're not helping. You're enabling. The guilt manipulator. This person uses your goodness against you. They weaponize your faith, your empathy, your past promises, even your fears. They say things like, if you cared, you would, or a real believer wouldn't say no, or after all I've done. The sign is that you feel trapped, not loved, and God never leads through traps. Conviction brings peace. Manipulation brings panic. The boundary here is bold and clean. I won't make decisions under guilt or pressure. If we can talk with respect, I'm here. If not, I'm stepping back. If they only love you when you obey them, that is control, not covenant. The divider and gossip carrier. This person doesn't just need help, they spread poison. They carry stories, stir suspicion, and create tension. They pull you into drama under the disguise of concern. But their pattern is consistent. Relationships around them break, trust collapses, and confusion grows. Helping this person often means you become a partner in chaos. You lend them your attention, your credibility, your emotional energy, until your own peace starts to fracture. The boundary is simple. I don't participate in conversations that tear others down. If there's a real issue, address it directly with the person involved. Protecting peace is not weakness, it's wisdom. The repeater who rejects wisdom. This person keeps making the same choices, hitting the same wall, and then asking you to pay the price again. They ignore advice, refuse correction, and treat consequences like bad luck. They promise change, but nothing shifts. And when you offer accountability, they call you judgmental. Here's the hard truth. If someone consistently rejects wisdom, your help becomes interference with God's training. Sometimes the most merciful thing you can do is let consequences speak. Your boundary can be compassionate. I love you, but I can't keep rescuing you from decisions you keep choosing. When you're ready to do things differently, I'll support that new path. Now, let me pause and say this clearly. You are not responsible for someone's reaction to your boundary. You are responsible for obedience, integrity, and stewardship. Your energy is not infinite. Your peace is not cheap. And your purpose requires clarity. Here's a quick heart check you can use anytime you're unsure. If your help produces growth, it's healthy. If your help removes responsibility, it's harmful. If your help creates dependency, it's a trap. If your help costs you peace every time, it's a warning. And if this is hitting your life right now, don't just listen, respond. Comment, wisdom, if you're choosing discernment over guilt in this season. And if you want more messages like this that strengthen your faith and your boundaries, subscribe because your future needs a stronger you, not a more exhausted you. In the next part, we're going to go deeper. How do you know when to help, when to step back, and how to say no without becoming cold? Because God isn't teaching you to hate people. He's teaching you to love with light, so your kindness stops being a chain and becomes a compass. If you've made it this far, I want you to breathe for a moment, because what you're learning isn't just a life tip. It's spiritual maturity. And spiritual maturity often feels like loneliness at first, because you stop feeding patterns that used to keep other people comfortable. You stop buying peace with your exhaustion. You stop confusing guilt with love. Let's be honest. Many people don't leave because you changed. They leave because your boundaries exposed their intentions. When you were easy to use, they stayed close. When you became clear, they called you different. But different isn't always bad. Sometimes different is exactly what God is building in you, because you cannot carry calling with the same weak boundaries you used in survival mode. There's a reason this message hurts a little. It's because you're realizing something painful. Some of the people you've been helping weren't walking with you. They were leaning on you. And leaning isn't partnership. Leaning is dependency. God doesn't want you trapped in that. Not because he doesn't care about them, but because he cares about what he placed inside you. Now, let's answer the biggest question. How do you know when to help and when to step back? Here are 4 tests that will guide you like a lighthouse in fog. 1. The fruit test. Ask yourself, what fruit is my help producing? Is it producing growth, responsibility, humility, discipline, and gratitude? Or is it producing laziness, entitlement, repeated bad choices, and more demands? Real help creates progress over time. Enabling creates a loop. If you've been helping for years and nothing changes, you're not witnessing a season, you're witnessing a pattern. The responsibility test. Ask, are they carrying their portion? Healthy people don't ask you to carry what they refuse to lift. Even when someone is struggling, they can still take a step. They can still follow counsel. They can still make a plan. If they always want your resources but never their own responsibility, you're not helping, you're replacing their maturity. And that's dangerous, because it turns you into their substitute instead of God. The peace test. Ask, do I feel peace or pressure when I say yes? God can lead you into sacrifice. Yes, but his leading doesn't come with manipulation. Pressure often comes from people who fear losing access to you. Peace comes from alignment. If every yes feels like a chain around your chest, and every no feels like you're escaping prison, your spirit is trying to tell you something. Don't ignore that whisper. It may be God protecting you. 4. The pattern test. Ask, is this a one-time need or a lifestyle? A one-time need is normal. A lifestyle of needing is a warning. If they consistently end up in the same mess, with the same excuses and the same urgency, then your help might be blocking the lesson that would finally set them free. Now, here's the part most people don't want to hear. Sometimes God allows consequences because consequences teach what comfort never will. When you keep removing consequences, you keep removing the teacher, and then you wonder why people never change. So how do you say no without becoming cold? You say no with clarity, not cruelty. You say it with love, not fear. Here are a few phrases that keep your heart clean while your boundaries stay strong. I care about you, but I can't support this pattern. I'm willing to help with a plan, not with repeated emergencies. I won't make decisions under guilt. If you want to talk calmly, I'm here. I love you too much to keep rescuing you from choices you keep repeating. My season requires focus. I'm stepping back from my peace and my purpose. Notice, none of these sentences attack the person. They confront the pattern. That's what mature love does. It separates identity from dysfunction. It says, you matter, but this behavior cannot lead. And if someone responds with anger, threats, or guilt, remember this. A boundary doesn't create rebellion, it reveals it. If they only respect you when you're useful, that isn't love. That's access. Let me speak to the part of you that feels guilty. You were taught that being good means always being available. But Jesus was good, and he still walked away from crowds. He still withdrew. He still said no. He still didn't answer every demand. Because his mission was bigger than people's expectations. And your mission matters too. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to steward your energy. You are allowed to stop pouring into a cup that has no bottom. And here's the twist. When you stop helping the wrong way, you make room to help the right way. You make room for the people who truly want growth. You make room for the assignments God actually gave you. You make room for your own healing. So if you've been exhausted, drained, and silently resentful, this is not your signal to harden. This is your signal to level up, to become discerning, to become wise, to become stable. Before we close, I want you to do one thing. Think of one person or one pattern that you've been rescuing, not because you're called to, but because you're afraid to disappoint. Now whisper this truth to yourself. I can love them without losing myself, because you can. Now here's your action step. Comment boundaries if you're stepping into a new season of wisdom and peace. Like this video so it reaches someone who is being drained in silence. Share it with a friend who keeps rescuing people and calling it love. And subscribe if you want more Christian motivation that doesn't just inspire you, it strengthens you. And remember, God didn't give you discernment to make you harsh. He gave you discernment to keep you whole. Because the world doesn't need a more exhausted you. It needs a healed you, a focused you, a strong you. Stay steady, stay prayerful, stay wise, and I'll see you in the next message.